Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining another episode of the Educational Leadership Podcast. We have another very special guest. Before we introduce our guest, we do want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Ideal Impact. Ideal Impact's giving away hundreds of millions of dollars to public education in the form of a free gift. So if your district needs unrestricted funds, reach out to Ideal Impact. Okay, today we have another Texas superintendent, Dr. Some people call her Dr. B, Dr. Borowicz from Anderson-Shiro Consolidated Independent School District. Did I say all that right?
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
You can just call me Sarah, though. It's pretty. I'm really comfortable with that as well.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you, Sarah. And before we kick things off, just so our listeners get to know you a little bit and get to know your district a little bit too, could you share a little bit about your background and maybe kind of the where in Texas and size of your district and that sort of thing?
Yes. I have been in education for 18 years. I started out in Mississippi, teaching first grade, and then my husband's from Texas, so that's how I ended up in Texas. And spent a year in Beaumont teaching high school, and then most of my career teaching middle school before I got into administration, and served in different roles all the way up to assistant superintendent before I came here to Anderson-Shiro. And I've been the proud superintendent of Anderson-Shiro for the last 2 years. And it's been just an amazing opportunity. We have a fantastic district. We are a small rural 3A district, about 30 minutes southeast of College Station. And we have two campuses, but we did pass a bond in November of 2024 to build a new elementary school. And then we're going to make our current elementary school a junior high, and then have our high school campus as a standalone campus there as well. And so we've been growing over the last several years, and we're anticipating to continue to grow. We're 263 square miles, and so we're pretty spread out, but definitely all one Al family. And so it's been a joy to be here and get to serve our community.
Awesome. Awesome. And you got my attention there. College Station. I went to A&M. Whoop. So can
I'm a
appreciate
Mississippi
that.
State Bulldog, so I struggle with that a little bit where I am, but everybody's very kind and gracious with it. So we all wear maroon. So
So I'm going to say something dumb. Is Mississippi State the same as Ole Miss, or is that?
no,
Okay. They're
it's like
rivals.
Mississippi State, Ole Miss is like A&M and UT. So Ole Miss is the UT version of Mississippi, and Mississippi State's the A&M version of Mississippi. So it's definitely a big rivalry.
Oh, okay, because there was somebody that I went to college with that had transferred over from Ole Miss, but she left there, so I guess maybe she's in good graces. But that's my only connection there to Mississippi. Um, Very cool. 3A, how many students is that roughly, just for our listeners?
We have about 950 students.
950 students. You're growing, building an elementary school. It seems like that area in general, right around College Station, is just kind of an expanding area. Is that a fair
Yes.
statement?
So we go right up to Plantersville, where the toll road is now connecting that area to Houston. And so there's been a lot of movement on that end. We have College Station moving on one end, and then we go right up to Huntsville on the other side of our district. So it's kind of a lot of different areas that are experiencing growth and moving in our direction.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. That's great. So I have to ask, uh, and I preface this because so many people when they think about public education, it's almost like a black box. It's like they're all, this is public education over here. But it's interesting. I think with our listeners, as they listen to our podcast, they hear it's just people. It's people, leaderships, leaders, a lot of great leaders that are really doing their best, uh, within their capacity to provide the best possible scenario for students and faculty and community. And so everybody has different passions when it comes to leadership or different focus areas. I'm curious, kind of, and this changes. This changes, obviously. We've interviewed some superintendents where, 6 months go by and now they're focused on something else, maybe sooner than that. What's your big focus right now when it comes to public ed?
So I think for us, especially because we're small, rural, is really just giving our kids the opportunities. A lot of families choose to move into our district and be a part of our district because they love how close knit we are and our small community feel. You're not a number here. Everybody knows everybody's name, and everybody supports each other no matter what they're doing. So I think the big thing for us is creating those opportunities for kids so that even though they're in a small community in a small school, they still have all the same opportunities that students who might go to a larger district have. And that's kind of been a big priority in the last few years. So I would say like a lot of the focus I feel as a superintendent is driven by our community, right? At the end of the day, it's their money, their kids, their buildings. And so it's about serving them and making sure that we're doing what our community wants. And that has been by far the most feedback I've gotten over the last 2 years since I've been here is just like, how can we give our kids these opportunities? And so I think what's cool about it being in a small community is that everybody in the community also wants to help. So we're able to create partnerships with different organizations and businesses in our community to give kids more experiences that are similar to what they would get in a larger district. We're about to start early college high school. So that's going to give our kids some more opportunities to earn those college hours before they move on past high school. And so I think that's probably the biggest focus is just trying to figure out how to do it because you're in a small district you are limited with staff, but it's getting really creative on how we can maximize our staff, maximize the connections we have in our community to make big things happen for our kids.
Awesome, awesome. And I love how and I think this shows you just your leadership is you're listening to the community, you're listening to people, you're getting feedback. Um, it all ties back to relationships, whether it's one-on-one or organizations interacting with, other big groups of people. And I think that gets lost a lot when it comes to leadership. Sometimes people, regardless whether it be a business or a school district, um, not tuning in to what people, are wanting is a big deal. So that's great. And you mentioned your faculty. So I know across the board, a lot of times it's recruiting teachers is difficult. Are y'all have anything unique you do to attract talent?
So we are very blessed that we have a pretty low turnover rate. One of the big draws for us is that we do not take out of district transfers. And so a lot of our teachers work here because they have kids that they want in our school district. They take a lot of pride in what we can offer their kids. And so a lot of times for the most part we probably have almost 70% of our teachers that have more than 5 years of experience, which is getting kind of rare with some of the teacher shortages that we've seen over the last few years. But teachers want to come here and they want to stay here because they want their kids here. And so I think that's been our biggest recruiting tool for sure. And just our reputation as a district, I think that's helped as well. But a lot of it is how can I get in there? I will tell you, I get emails, especially at the beginning of the school year. What do I need to do to get my kid in? And I usually just send them the job posting list because I'm like, this is the way to get in. If you don't live in our district, is come work for us and be a part of our OWL family.
Well, that right there should tell our listeners quite a bit about your district. If people are demanding to get into the district, or requesting, urgently requesting, I think that says a lot about your district. And that's great that they want to stay, they want to be a part of that community. They want to stay and be a part of that community. And it makes sense. And for those that haven't been to that part of Texas, it's a very pleasant area in Texas, at least from it's kind of a quiet area, peaceful. From what I remember, it's probably changed a lot over the years, but sounds like it's still like that. Um, Vision for the future. I mean, obviously, y'all are growing. Teachers want to come work there. Community members want their students to go there. So everything sounds very positive in the direction things are going as far as the desire to be a part of the community and district. What are like in the next 5 years? What are some of the things that the community members or district may see in the future?
I think we're going to continue to see some growth. We've got, I said, we've got the new elementary school that's going to open up in fall of 2027, and then we'll have a separate junior high and high school campus. And so, um, some of that is to accommodate growth. Obviously, like we'll have space on our junior high and high school and even the elementary campus for a while to anticipate the growth that we're getting and continue to have space for students. But we also are going to be able to use some of the space that's going to get freed up at our secondary campus to create some specialized learning areas. We're looking at how we can expand our health science pathway and some of the different ag mechanic areas and infrastructure for that. So just looking at how we can use the things that we have to maximize that. And then I think just kind of figuring out what's next as far as like we do something in our leadership team meeting every week. We call it Sandbox, where we take about 15-20 minutes to just throw out an idea and play with it and go, okay, is this something that might take off or not? So trying to be more innovative, I think, with our approach. Our kids are changing, our families are changing, the dynamics of work life is changing when kids get out of high school. And so it's thinking how we can maximize that in our classrooms and maybe structure things a little bit differently than we have. We've talked about looking into some different hybrid options for certain classes, just to keep our kids excited and engaged when they're here, but also like teach them how to do some of the things that they're probably going to have to do when they get out of high school and know what's coming next. We started the process last year, but we're continuing to expand on it. We have our Al 18, which we start in pre-K for the behaviors that we expect to see that are going to get them where they need to be by the time they graduate to either enter the workforce or go on to college or the military. And so I think it's just making sure that we're kind of staying on the forefront of it. We don't want to be reactive. We want to be proactive and thinking about how we tackle like artificial intelligence and the impact that's going to have on, work and life and all of those things. We have some really exciting things happening in our classrooms with our teachers. They're really into some of those things and being creative with that. But it's also teaching kids how to be responsible with it and know kind of what to expect when they get out of school and how that might impact what they want to do with their life afterwards. So just a lot. I think there's a lot of change in the future for public education and for us, and it's really just about getting ahead of it so that we're really doing what's best for kids.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, that's a lot. And uh I do like the direction that you reference as far as making that connection point from um school to real life, right? Obviously school is life, but you know how it is, right? When you're not with your parents anymore and you're on your own and have to fend for yourself. Um I think that's great, and it seems like a lot of the top districts that I've spoken to on the podcast, superintendent of the year, and just like really great things that you see around a lot of different districts. It seems like a common denominator is that connection point to the community, whether it be relationships with local businesses, school, colleges, that sort of thing, just bridging that gap. It's funny. So one of my hobbies is jujitsu, and I was training a couple weeks ago, and I'm the old man in the class. I've been doing it 15 years now, and there was a guy there, 19 years old, and he was beating up on me a little bit, in jujitsu, and when we got done, we started talking, and he said, "Yeah, I'm 19," and we started talking about school a little bit and his future and what he plans to do. But it's interesting. He made a comment, which I feel like you're addressing at your district. He made a comment and he said, I finished school, but I didn't know how to manage my finances. I didn't know how to buy a house. I didn't know any of the life stuff. and
Mm-hmm.
and I think we can reflect back to when we finished school, at least when I finished school, and maybe it's a generational thing, I don't know, um, where we look back and we say we had to figure that out on our own. So I think that's great that y'all are addressing that early.
Yeah, I have a student advisory council that I meet with about once a month, and it's it's 4th through 12th graders. But I will tell you the number one thing that they want to give me feedback on is how can we incorporate more life skills lessons that they can get before they graduate. I'll tell you, like my high school kids are like, we need to bring back home ec. We need to bring back all these things. Like, I want to know how to do my taxes. Like, they really are hungry to like be responsible adults and have the skills they need when they get out of school. So, that's not always seen as like one of those things that you're wanting to, check off as far as requirements for the state, but it's something that's really, I think a lot of our kids are passionate about and really want those things. So it's interesting that it's coming up in other places as well.
Yeah, yeah, in entrepreneurship too.
Oh yeah.
That's something that comes up because a lot of uh, when you think of education and college, right? It's all about, hey, go get a job, go get a job. But then there's those creators out there, and you're seeing so many more creators with technology today. So I I think that's great. I know we only had 20 minutes and it flew by here. And before we close out, any last thoughts for any of our listeners?
I think there's great things happening in public schools across the state and honestly across the country. And I think it's so awesome to be able to celebrate those things and we're all in it together, So it's a lot of times I think we can get these rivalries and think, oh, we need to do this or that compared to someone else. But at the end of the day, it's just about all of us coming together and doing what's best for kids and making sure that we keep moving forward no matter what obstacles we face, because at the end of the day it's not just our kids' future, it's our future too. So I thank you so much for having me on today and sharing all the good things that are going on.
Absolutely. Yeah, enjoy the interview. And before we close out, we do want to give one final shout out to our sponsor, IDO Impact. IDO Impact's giving away hundreds of millions of dollars to public education in the form of a free gift. So if your district needs unrestricted funds, reach out to IDO Impact. And for those that have been tuning in, stay tuned for future episodes of the Educational Leadership Podcast.